So guys, today we're going to learn how to pledge stocks or mutual funds in Zerodha. Now, as you guys know that I use pledging a lot for getting margins for option selling or for future selling. So I thought it would be a good idea for me to make a short video explaining the pledging process. So let's just get started. Let's go step by step. So the step number one is for you to log into your Zerodha Kite terminal. And from there, go to the top right hand side, click on your username and go to console. Once you land on the console page, you have to go to portfolio and holdings. Now scroll all the way down to the stock or mutual fund that you want to pledge. Now in my case, I will be pledging this particular mutual fund. So what I will do is I will just hover my mouse over this and I will see these three dots, which are options. I will click on that. And here there are two menu items that are pertaining to pledging. Pledge for margin, which is what we will be doing. And unpledging is when we don't want our stocks or funds to be pledged, right? So we can revoke or reverse the pledging process. So right now we will of course go for pledge for margin. Now let's just understand this little screen which just popped up in front of our eyes. Now on the top left hand side, of course, it's the name of the stock or the mutual fund. The next thing I will see is the quantity available for pledging, right? How many shares or how many units are available for pledging. Now in my case, the quantity available for pledging is 214.277. Right, so some of you might be wondering why is that the case? Well, in case of mutual funds, it is possible to have the quantities in decimals. Next is the ISIN number, which is the unique code that the exchange assigns for any stock or mutual fund. Now comes a very important part, and this is something which you need to spend time on, right? So this is the agreement that you are having with Zerodha. This is a little checkbox. But before even we click on this checkbox, we need to understand the terms of service which is mentioned right here. So let's click on this. And this is the page that opens up, right? So let's just go through this at a very high level. Of course, we don't need to spend a lot of time here. So the first term says that a collateral margin will be available on T+1 day. T+1 day is the next business day, right? For the stocks that are pledged before 5 p.m. So on any business day, if you place the request, so let's say for example Wednesday, you will get the collateral margin the next day, which is Thursday. But if you do it after 5 o'clock, then you will eventually get that on Friday, right? So the next business day after 5 p.m. This one pertains to positional trades. You might want to spend some time understanding about this. The third one is interesting. It says that the use of collateral margins from pledging will only be allowed with a positive cash balance, right? So if your account doesn't have enough cash balance, it's not like you can just purely trade based on collateral margins. You need to have a minimum amount of cash for you to be able to use the collateral margins. The next very important thing is that every time you place a request for pledging, there is a 30 rupees plus GST per instrument, irrespective of the quantity pledged, right? Doesn't matter whether I'm pledging 200 quantity or 300 quantity or 500 quantity. It is basically per request that I have to pay. And then there are a few other things which I will strongly recommend you to come back and read this properly. So the next thing that we have to understand is the concept of haircut. Now in this case, let's say I want to pledge 214 units. The value of these units is going to be about 20,000 rupees, as I can see it. But the collateral margin that I'm going to get against that is not going to be exactly the same. So for this 20,000 worth rupees of mutual funds, I am only going to get a margin of 18,559 rupees. So there is a cut basically which is happening in the process, and that is called the haircut. So the haircut is a way of managing the risk by the broker or by the exchanges in general. So what they are trying to do is that if the stock or mutual fund is very volatile, right, the value of it can fluctuate very widely, then they will have a bigger haircut. So in some cases, the haircut can be 20% or 30%. Sometimes it can even be higher. But if that stock or index is very, very stable, very mature, then the haircut percent can be as low as 7.5%, which is what it is right now for me. Now let's take a moment to understand this disclaimer. So what it is telling you that what you're doing is not just something which is happening between you and Zerodha. There are other parties involved here as well, right? So the process here is this. So once you place this pledging request, you are pledging. Pledging is nothing but girvi rakhna, right? In Hindi it says girvi rakhna. you are pledging your stocks to Zerodha, who is also called as a trading member. Now Zerodha is not going to just keep those stocks with it, right? So it's going to pledge this to a clearing member. That is also CM. That is the short form for CM for that. And that clearing member is in turn going to pledge it with the clearing corporation, which is CC. So there are two more parties involved. Apart from Zerodha, you have a clearing member and the clearing corporation. Now, do you really need to worry about these things on a day-to-day basis? No. But do you need to know about this? Absolutely. Okay. Now comes the fun part. I have to enter the quantity to be pledged. Now here the total quantity available on the top says 214.277. So maximum that I can pledge is up to that level. So let's just go for it. So I will place the order for 214, and as soon as I click that, I get this message that the pledge request for this particular mutual fund has been successfully placed. Please authorize pledged on CDSL. An email with more details has been sent. So the pledging process is not complete. There is one more step that we have to do. Now what happens next is that after I place this request, after let's say an hour or so, I get an SMS from CDSL. Now who is CDSL? Now CDSL is a company that provides the Demat account that is linked to my Zerodha account. So all the shares and the mutual funds that I am buying from Zerodha are actually not stored in Zerodha. They are stored in CDSL. So CDSL wants to add one more level of authentication that, okay, I want to make sure that it is you who is pledging these stocks or mutual funds, right? So this is a good another level of security that they have built in. Now the process here is very simple. In that SMS there will be a link. So I have opened that link here on my browser just to show you guys. You can also do this from the mobile if you want to. So all we have to do is just enter our PAN number quickly and submit. And once I submit it, here I can see all those stocks or mutual funds that I have requested to be pledged. So all I have to do is just select the ones that I want to pledge and then click on generate OTP. Now this generate OTP will basically send one OTP on my mobile number, and I have to just enter that OTP here. And as soon as I give the OTP, I get this little prompt here which asks me to agree to these conditions. So basically, and the condition is basically the same that we have already read. So there is nothing new here. So I'm just going to click on OK. And I finally get the confirmation that the selected transaction verified successfully. It means that my pledging request has been placed successfully. And because I have placed this request before 5 p.m. business day, by tomorrow I will get the collateral margin against this particular pledge. So guys, this is day 2. Let's just go and see what's going on. So as you can see that the quantity that I have pledged has already been pledged. So I only have this 0.277 left, and I have got the collateral margin against the pledge that I have placed. So guys, that was the basic idea behind the whole pledging process. Now a couple of things I just want to talk about. Number one thing is that if once you pledge your stock or index, you will see this little briefcase which is with a lock, and it says that pledged for margin. So it will tell you how many units you have pledged for margin. Okay, that's number one. Second thing is that if you want to reverse this pledge, what you can do is you can click on options and you can unpledge, right? So when you click on unpledge, it will ask you how many units do you want to unpledge, right? So this is basically a reversal of the pledging process that we have done. So if you want to do it, you can just enter the quantity, right? So in this case, this much, and submit it, and then all those units will come back to your Demat account. There will be no more lock or pledge on those holdings. So that's it, guys. I hope this video would have helped you to understand the pledging process and how it's done in Zerodha. If you have any questions, feel free to ask that in the comments below.